To write equations from a point and a slope, there's two basic methods that you can use. You can either find it algebraically, which is personally the method I prefer, or you can find it from tables. I'm going to show you both. If you're given the point is 5, 2 and the slope is negative 3/5, you already know that your line is going to somehow contain y equals negative 3/5 x plus your y-intercept. What you're trying to figure out is, what is my y-intercept? So the first method you can use is, you know that this is an x and this is a y that exists on your line. So you can go ahead and plug in 2 for your y and 5 for your x and solve for b. Negative 3/5 times 5, that gets me negative 3. You can either use your knowledge of how to multiply fractions, put that over 1, or you can use a calculator. I don't care either way. Plus b. Add 3, you get your b, aka your y-intercept, is 5. So your final equation is y equals negative 3/5 x plus 5. And you're done. Now your second method you can use is finding missing values from a table. So remember, you're trying to figure out when x is 0, what is y? And you're given that 5, 2 exists on your line. Well, you already know from your slope that this is the change in y over the change in x. So if their y changes by adding 3, your x subtracts 5, and vice versa. Your y can subtract 3 when your x adds 5. Well, we notice from our table that we want to subtract 5 to jump to 0 on this table. Well, when we subtract 5, what do we do to y? We add 3. So then we get our y-intercept is 0, 5. So then y equals negative 3/5 x plus 5. Either way, this will work. You either plug in your x and your y into your equation. Make sure you plug in the y value for the y, the x value for the x, and solve for your y-intercept. Or you can piece it together from a table. In fact, if you want to be absolutely certain of your answer, you can always do both methods and make sure you get the same solution. It should always work. Alright, we're going to do another one. For this one, I want you to write the problem down, pause the video, and then we'll go over it together. So your slope is 2, 3. Your point is 2, 3. And your slope is negative 2. Go ahead and pause your video, and I want you to try to write this equation. Alright, welcome back. I'm going to show you both methods. So for the first method, method number 1, we're going to try to plug into y equals mx plus b. Well, we already know our slope is negative 2. We don't know our b yet. The y we do know is a positive 3, and the x we do know is positive 2. Negative 2 times 2 gets me negative 4. Add 4 to undo a negative. We get our y-intercept is 7. So our final equation is y equals negative 2x plus 7. Let's try it with the second method. Method number 2. So I'm already going to reason out to myself what the slope means. Negative 2 is the same thing as negative 2 over 1, which means we minus 2 on the y and add 1 on the x, or we're adding 2 on the y and subtracting 1 on the x. The point that we were given was 2, 3. And we want to go ahead and count down to when x is 0. Well, every time we subtract 1 on the x, we're supposed to add 2 to the y. So I'm filling out my table and filling out the information that I know needs to happen. So 3 plus 2 gives me 5. 5 plus 2 gives me 7. Either way, I got that my equation is y equals negative 2x plus 7. Pick your favorite method. I don't care personally which one you use. Both are excellent mathematical reasoning. To zoom out a little bit here in case you want to take a picture of this, all you're doing is you're taking your point and either plugging it into the equation and solving algebraically, or you're reasoning in a table what it has to be based on your slope. Let's do one more together. Let's say this time that your point is 4, -1, and your slope is -3/4. So again, I want you to pause the video, try this on your own, and then we'll come back together to do it. Alright, welcome back. Again, I'm going to start with the first method. So we know we're going to have y equals -3/4 x plus something. We're going to go ahead and plug in -1 for y. We're going to plug in 4 for x. -3/4 times 4 gets me -3. We've always happened to be adding to undo a negative number, but if you've got a positive number there, you want to subtract. So then we get 2 is our y-intercept. So my final equation equals -3/4 x plus 2. Second method, where we're reasoning from a table. So you want to make your xy chart. We're given 4, -1. We reason from our slope of -3/4. That means we minus 3 on the y to add 4 on the x, or we add 3 on the y to subtract 4 on the x, as long as they're at opposite methods. Well, lo and behold, subtracting 4 on x already gives us 0, which is what we want. So we have to add 3 to the y. -1 plus 3 gives me +2. Exactly the same thing. So either method you want to use is fine. Just know that what you got to figure out from your point and your slope is what is my y-intercept. Good luck. Let us know if you have any questions.